One extra sentence to a brother or sister over dinner can cost you 10 years of your career and hundreds of thousands of dollars. Have you ever noticed how a heavy silence suddenly falls after you share your success with your family? This is not pride in your achievement. This is the quiet whisper of envy that will soon turn into the sabotage of your future. Everyone believes in the fairy tale of unconditional family support, but reality is much harsher. Family is the first and most treacherous school of control over your personality. Today, I will name 5 things you must hide from your relatives to avoid becoming a victim of their fears and limitations. By the end of this video, you will have a clear strategy for protecting your success that will turn you from an obedient child into an independent predator.
Your biggest life loss did not start in a competitor office. It started at the family dinner table. For years, you have been making a fatal systemic error. You confused biological proximity with intellectual unity. The fact that you share a last name and a set of chromosomes does not mean you share common goals. In the world of hard strategy, blood is just a liquid, and loyalty is an asset that must be tested for strength daily. Niccolò Machiavelli formulated a law 500 years ago that defines your bank account today. He wrote that men will sooner forgive the death of their own father than the loss of their property or a threat to their social status. Think about this cold truth. Your family only loves you as long as you remain a predictable and safe element of their system. As long as you occupy your usual place on the bottom step of the hierarchy, you do not cause friction. But as soon as you declare your ambitions, as soon as your income starts to multiply beyond theirs, you automatically become a living reproach to them. Your success is a mirror in which they see their own laziness and missed opportunities. Family is a homeostatic system that strives to maintain peace. Any leap by one member of the group is perceived as destabilization. Most people choose the easiest path. They try to keep you in place using the dirtiest tools: guilt, manipulation, and the devaluation of your hard work. The Stoics taught that peace of mind depends on the ability to draw a sharp line between what we control and what is beyond us. You can never control the level of a brother's envy or a mother's fear of change, but you are obligated to fully control these people's access to the levers of your destiny. Never say your grand goals out loud in their very infancy. In a modern, cutthroat society, success is recognized as the ultimate religion. But inside the family circle, your big ambitions often become a trigger for hidden aggression and subconscious sabotage. From the outside, it always looks like a soft and very kind warning. Your parents or siblings will tell you that your idea is too risky or that it is just not the right time to start a new project. They will remind you of the crisis or your past failed experience. In fact, at this moment, a primitive mechanic of psychological dumping is activated. Your loved ones want you to stay safe, but by safety, they mean your immobility. Your sudden leap forward makes them feel like losers who are stuck in their comfort zone. Your movement destroys their familiar world, where everyone is equal in their mediocrity. When you share a plan, you give them the right to veto your future. The psychological price of such trust is too high. Every doubt they drop in passing gets stuck in your subconscious like a splinter. At the critical moment when you need all your will, these voices from the past will make you hesitate and hit the brakes. Machiavelli advised hiding your true intentions until the moment their fulfillment becomes an inevitable and crushing fact. To protect your inner empire, you must master the false trail technique.
This is the high art of information masking. The problem for most people is that their silence looks suspicious. If you suddenly stop talking about yourself, the family will start to press and pry for information. Your task is to create the appearance of total openness with an absolute absence of real data. If you are questioned about your business or plans for the coming year, never answer with the phrase, "It is a secret." Instead, feed them a small and maximally boring goal. Tell them with glowing eyes that you have decided to get serious about backyard gardening or have begun to deeply study the history of ancient ceramics. Describe to them in detail which variety of roses you are going to plant or what brushes you bought for your new hobby. The mechanics of this process are simple. You give them a bone that they can chew on with pleasure in their discussions for a long time. While they spend their time criticizing your interest in flowers or sympathizing with your strange hobby, you build your real financial or career empire in complete information silence. You create a vacuum where before there was a fire of their advice and opinions. Right now, choose one real goal that you plan to realize in the next 3 months. Vow to yourself that not one person from your family circle will know about it until the moment of total victory. Simultaneously, come up with a cover story. It should be something safe and not envy-inducing. Become a master of disinformation. Enjoy how they discuss your made-up nonsense while you methodically capture new heights. Money is the most powerful and primal trigger in the human psyche. The moment you say the exact amount of your annual income or the size of your bank account out loud, you instantly and forever change the power structure in your family. You are no longer a son or daughter. You are no longer a brother or sister. You turn into an abstract resource. In the eyes of your relatives, you become a walking ATM who is obligated to compensate for their own failures and laziness. From the perspective of clinical psychology, the financial success of another is perceived by an immature personality as a deep wound to their own self-esteem. When your brother sees your new watch or learns about your profit, he does not rejoice for you. He feels sharp pain from the realization of his own worthlessness. His brain demands immediate compensation for this pain. The easiest way for him to restore peace of mind is to take part of your resources for himself. Psychologists call this forced leveling.
If you have risen above the rest, the pack will try either to pull you down or force you to feed the whole pack until you are equal to them in capital. As soon as your true wealth becomes public knowledge, the mechanics of debt slavery are immediately activated in the family. Awkward requests for short-term loans appear, which will never be repaid. Aggressive demands arise to pay medical bills or the education of those relatives who for decades deliberately avoided any work. If you refuse, you become a greedy traitor to the bloodline. If you agree, you voluntarily become a sponsor of someone else's degradation. In both cases, you lose. Machiavelli knew that nothing divides people like the sharing of gold. Your financial openness is an invitation to your own ruin. To survive and keep your capital, you must implement a protocol of total financial invisibility. Your task is to ensure that no one in your family circle ever knows the real size of your personal fortune. If you are directly asked how much you earn now, never name figures. Use vague and maximally boring language. Say that there is just enough for current life, or that absolutely all free funds go into reinvestment and complex long-term projects. If the pressure from relatives intensifies and they begin to show brazen interest in your wallet, apply the counter-whining method. This is the highest form of psychological defense.
As soon as a conversation about money starts, be the first to complain about monstrous taxes, about insane inflation, and about the increased costs of maintaining a business or home. Make a somber face and tell them how hard it is to make ends meet now because of market instability. The mechanics of this method are simple. You create the image of a person who is himself on the brink of a financial crisis. This instantly kills any desire in parasites to ask you for money. Moreover, they will begin to avoid conversations about finances with you, so that you do not ask them for a loan yourself. Your assignment for today is as follows. Create a legend for your family about your moderate income. If you bought an expensive thing, never name its true price. Say you got it on deep credit or at a huge discount at a sale. Your goal is to look in their eyes like an ordinary person with a medium income. Enjoy the fact that your real capital grows in silence and safety. Remember that money loves silence, and big money requires absolute silence. Your family possesses a unique genetic access code to your deepest childhood fears. This is a database that has been compiled for decades. Every failure in school, every tear over a first love, and every professional setback is carefully stored in the memory of your loved ones.
From the outside, it is always presented as a warm desire to lend a shoulder in a difficult moment. But in dark psychology, this is called the accumulation of strategic leverage. As soon as you open your mouth to complain about current problems, you voluntarily hand over the remote control of your personality to your relatives. Your temporary weakness in their hands instantly turns into a tool for your own grounding. The mycological mechanism here is perfectly cynical. If you tell your mother or brother today about your failure in a large deal or a conflict with management, they will store this fact in their mental archive. At any moment when they need to regain control over you or simply snub your growing success, they will remind you of your past helplessness. They will tell you that you were always too emotional or that you never knew how to get along with people. This is the mechanic of emotional castration. They use your past to limit your future. Complaining to relatives is not relief, it is an act of surrendering your sovereignty. The threat here is that at the moment of your triumph, when you need maximum confidence, these people will strike a precise blow to your self-esteem using your own honesty. Seneca urged the wise man to be like a granite rock that cannot be eroded by the waves of other people's emotions and opinions. Your vulnerability before relatives is the removal of armor before those who know better than anyone on the planet where you have no protection. If you want to succeed in a hard market, you must learn to digest your problems alone or with a professional therapist who has no access to your private life. To survive in this aggressive environment, you must implement the gray rock psychological protocol. Your main task is to become the most boring and uninteresting object possible during any contact with the family. Imagine an ordinary gray boulder on the side of the road. It gives no feelings, it gives no reaction, it just exists. This is exactly what your image should become for the manipulators within your clan. To any attempts to draw you into a dangerous confession or pry for details of your difficulties, answer with short and sterile phrases. Use words like "I see," or "understood," or "it happens," or "everything as usual." Do not give any emotional food. Do not make excuses and do not try to defend your position. If they see that their words cause neither anger nor tears, nor a desire to explain yourself,
the predator instantly loses interest in you. Manipulators need your energy. When they hit the cold surface of a gray rock, they go looking for another, more emotionally accessible victim. Right now, conduct an experiment. In the next phone conversation or face-to-face meeting with the family, do not utter a single word of complaint. Even if a catastrophe has happened to you, say that everything is going according to schedule. If they start to provoke you into discussing your weak spots, use the 4-second silence pause and then answer in one word. Feel the huge power that the ability to hide your pain gives you. You will find that without your complaints, their power over you evaporates like mist. You will become free because you will become opaque. Your marriage or your union with a partner is a separate, sovereign state. The second you decide to complain to your parents about your husband or wife, you commit an act of high treason against your own family. You voluntarily led a foreign hostile army into your most closed and private territory. You think you are looking for sympathy and wise advice, but in fact, you are opening the gates of the fortress to those who subconsciously always wanted your return to their full control. The mechanics of this destruction work perfectly and mercilessly. In a minute of acute anger or resentment, you dump a list of all your partner's sins onto your parents. You will make up with your half in an hour or an evening. Your feelings will cool and you will be together again. But your parents will never forget the bad things you said. To them, your partner will forever remain an enemy who hurt their child. From this moment on, they will use this information for years to methodically destroy your marriage from the inside, under the guise of fake concern. Any future disagreement will be fueled by their comments that they always knew and warned you. Dark psychology views this process as a divide-and-rule strategy. It is often beneficial for parents for your union to be weak, because a weak person always returns to the source for support. If you make them judges, you destroy your autonomy. Your bedroom turns into a thoroughfare where your mother opinion weighs more than your spouse's word. This creates a situation of eternal war on two fronts, where you lose the support of your closest person for the sake of fleeting emotional relief. The threat is that your home will stop being your refuge and become a branch of an endless court session presided over by your relatives. To protect your union and suppress any attempts at interference, you must master the 4-second exercise. This is a technique for creating a psychological power vacuum that knocks the ground from under a manipulator's feet. When another provocative question about your private life or a biting remark about your partner is heard at the family table, never start making excuses. For exactly 4 seconds, you must simply look the person straight in the eyes without opening your mouth or changing your facial expression. At this moment, an unbearable tension is created in the room. The human brain cannot stand silence in response to aggression. The manipulator instantly loses confidence. He will start to fuss, try to change the subject, or start making excuses himself for things you did not even accuse him of. You have seized the initiative without a single word. This is the highest form of control over space. Right now, enter into a non-disclosure pact with your partner.
Vow to each other that any of your internal conflicts will stay only between you. Your quarrels are your private property. If you need advice, go to a professional therapist or an outside expert who has no access to your ancestral system. At the next meeting with relatives, apply the 4-second technique at the first attempt to crawl into your bed with their advice. Feel how your silence builds an impenetrable wall around your union. Your methods of achieving goals and concrete steps to the top
must remain your eternal and untouchable secret. Napoleon Bonaparte, one of the greatest strategists in human history, said that any plan must be kept in the strictest secret, even from one's own closest ministers. He understood that as soon as a design leaves the limits of your mind, it stops belonging to you and becomes the property of chance. In the family circle, this danger increases exponentially. Any leak of information within the clan happens absolutely chaotically and completely unpredictably. The mechanics of accidental betrayal work flawlessly and cynically. Your mother might brag about your successes to a neighbor who will tell her son, who by fatal chance happens to be your competitor or colleague. Someone from the family might blurt out your plans at a family birthday in a fit of pride or under the influence of alcohol. In a modern world of group chats in messengers, information spreads instantly. One careless screenshot or forwarded message, and your carefully built strategy for market capture or getting a position becomes public. You lose the most important asset of any winner, which is the effect of surprise. Dark psychology claims that your success should look to others like an inexplicable and sudden miracle. People fear what they do not understand and respect those whose actions are impossible to predict. If your family knows your every move, they start giving advice that throws off your aim. They impose their fears and limitations on you. In the hard world of modern global competition, every grain of information about your intentions is a weapon in the hands of your opponents. You lose the second your enemy learns about your maneuver a day before it starts. Your strategy is the inner mechanics of a Swiss watch. The whole world should see only the exact time on the dial, but no one should know exactly how the gears move inside the gold case. To become a real grand master of your life, you must implement an information fortress protocol. This requires iron discipline and the rejection of cheap social dopamine. Most people tell their families about their plans for only one purpose, which is to get an instant dose of approval and feel important here and now. They exchange their great future for a 5-minute pat on the head from an aunt or father. This is a loser deal. Starting today, get yourself a closed digital or paper notebook that I call the Journal of Quiet Power. Every week, record in it all the moments when you had an irresistible desire to brag about your next step or intermediate success to relatives. At that moment, ask yourself one hard question.
Do I want to get their short-term approval now, or do I want to finally win in the big game? Choose victory. Every time you close your mouth and keep the information to yourself, you perform an act of accumulating personal power. Your silence is gold that you will convert into real power and independence in the future. Let your triumph be an accomplished fact for them that cannot be disputed or sabotaged. Most people live their lives in the full conviction that their need to lay out all secrets before the family is an innate character trait or a manifestation of deep integrity. You call it sincerity or family values. Clinical psychology calls it something else, the result of years of social dressage through the mechanism of intermittent reinforcement. You were not born open. You were made that way. Clinical psychology calls it something else, the result of years of social dressage through the mechanism of intermittent reinforcement. You were not born open. You were made that way. Remember your childhood. You were praised and hugged only when you were obedient and predictable. When you brought home your report card and honestly told about your affairs, you received a portion of love. But as soon as you tried to show your will or hide something personal, you faced coldness or aggression.
This mechanism works exactly like the training of laboratory rats in a Skinner box. You are conditioned to exchange your information and your secret for a fleeting sense of security and approval. Over the years, this reflex has become automatic. Now, every time you achieve success, your hand itself reaches for the phone to call your mother. You subconsciously wait for that same pat on the head that you received at age 5. But the price of this pat today is your adult independence and your real assets. Dark psychology exposes this sore. Your family often unconsciously uses your openness to keep you on a short leash. While they know everything about you, you remain their property. You are transparent to them, which means you are easy to manage. Your sincerity is not a virtue. It is your main vulnerability that allows them to sabotage your plans, even at the idea stage. Clinical analysis shows that those who do not know how to keep a secret from loved ones much more often suffer from emotional burnout and career crises. You waste your psychic energy on excuses before relatives instead of spending it on expansion in the real world. To break this vicious cycle of dressage, you must master the cognitive renaming technique. This is a protocol for reprogramming your internal reactions. The problem is that in the moment of silence, your body releases stress hormones. You feel guilt. You feel like a bad son or a bad daughter. This is not the voice of your conscience. It is the noise of an old program trying to return you to the stable. Starting from this minute, every time you consciously hide a success or a plan from your family and feel a surge of guilt, do the following. Stop and say a hard formula out loud or to yourself. This is not guilt. This is my security protocol in action. I am not hiding information. I am protecting my legal right to sovereignty of personality. I am not betraying my blood. I am building my empire in silence. You must retrain your brain to associate silence not with danger, but with power. The more often you repeat this renaming, the faster your nervous system will understand. A secret is your armor. You will see how with each day your sense of guilt weakens and your self-confidence grows. You will begin to get pleasure from owning information that no one else has. This is the birth of a predator. Right now, remember one situation in the last month when you blurted out something important to the family and later regretted it. Rewrite this scenario in your head. Imagine how you stay silent, how you smile and change the subject. Feel the taste of this victory over your own reflex. Make this your new norm. Your departure from a family meeting is not just the end of a dinner, it is the completion of a tactical operation. The biggest mistake you can make is to break down and leave in a state of open anger or resentment. In dark psychology, this is called a voluntary surrender of the crown. When you raise your voice or slam the door, you give manipulators a legal reason to portray you as an unbalanced or ungrateful person. They use your anger to justify their aggression and portray themselves as victims of your bad character. Your quick temper is their victory because it proves they can still pull the strings of your emotions. A true master of dark psychology and a follower of the Stoics always leaves at the very peak of politeness. Your task is to leave behind a trail of absolute calm and slight unreachability. You should look like a person who has business much more important than family squabbles. Your time is your most expensive asset, and you have no right to burn it in the fire of other people's complexes. Machiavelli advised keeping face even in the enemy rear so that no one could suspect your true feelings and next steps.
Your calm is your armor, which makes any of their attacks meaningless. To make your departure look professional and not cause unnecessary questions, you must implement a pre-prepared phrase protocol. Never wait for the moment when your patience runs out. Leave when you are still comfortable, but you have already received the necessary information and fulfilled your social duty. The mechanics of this process are simple and effective. Prepare a standard exit phrase that you will say with a light and friendly smile. For example, say, "It was very nice to see everyone and spend this time together, but I have one very important project call scheduled for today." Never specify what kind of call it is or what project it is. If they start asking, just repeat the same phrase with an even more polite expression. You are not obligated to account for your time. Your brevity is a signal that access to the details of your life is now closed. Your practical task for the next family meeting is as follows. Time yourself. Leave exactly 1 hour after the start of the event, even if it seems to you that everything is going well. Do this at the moment of the most lively conversation. Stand up, smile, say your routine phrase. Keep an icy cold in your eyes with an external warmth of words. Just leave. Watch their reaction. You will see how a slight bewilderment and even respect will appear in their eyes. They will feel that you no longer belong to them completely. You have created a distance that cannot be bridged by manipulations. Your right to the secrecy of personal affairs is your direct right to freedom from their control. You are no longer a child asking permission to leave the table. You are an adult player who decides for himself when the game is over. The time has come for the heaviest and most sobering moment of this video. We have spent a lot of time uncovering the sores of other people's manipulations and setting up a guard at your private gates. But now, you must direct this prolled spotlight onto yourself. Go to the mirror and look yourself straight in the eyes. Ask yourself one merciless question. Are you not yourself that same toxic relative who right now is suppressing someone else's success just to justify your own laziness and grayness? Dark psychology is not only a shield against external enemies, it is a scalpel for opening your own internal rotten programs. Carl Jung called this shadow work. Your shadow is all those qualities that you deny in yourself, but which manage your life from the darkness of the subconscious. If you catch yourself thinking that a brother or sister's success causes you heartburn or a desire to find a flaw in their achievement, congratulations. You have become part of that same bucket of crabs we talked about at the beginning. You use criticism of loved ones as anesthesia to not feel the pain of your own lack of fulfillment. Admitting your capacity for low envy is not a shame. It is the first and only step to stop being a slave to your instincts and start real growth. Your right to success and power over your destiny begins where your need to assert yourself at the expense of others ends. While you spend psychic energy on devaluing someone else's result, you remain in the same cage with your manipulators. You feed the very system that chokes you. To exit this circle means to recognize the strength of another person and use it as fuel for your own leap. The Stoics taught that someone else's success in no way diminishes your own if you are focused on your own inner logos and your affairs. Right today, you must perform one of the most difficult exercises of your life. Find exactly one person in your environment whose success or status you secretly envy most. This could be your relative or an old friend. Remember that burning feeling in your chest when you learned of their new victory. Now close your eyes and take 3 deep breaths. Sincerely and consciously wish this person even more success and luck to yourself. Say these words firmly and without sarcasm.
The mechanics of this action are amazing. At the moment you voluntarily bless another person's trigger, you break the chain that tied you to the ancestral program of deficit. You clear your mind of the trash of comparisons. You return to yourself all that energy that you previously poured into envy. Now this power belongs only to you. You are no longer part of a pack that pulls the leader down. You yourself become a leader who is above any comparisons. This exercise gives you a colossal surge of pure energy for your personal storming of new heights. We are completing this cycle of immersion into the dark mechanics of family relations. You have received 5 taboos and a set of hard stoic techniques that will make your life impenetrable to someone else's sabotage. But know that information itself is only raw material. Real power is born only at the moment of regular and cold application of these protocols in practice. We created this community for those who have finally outgrown the role of convenient relative and are ready for radical honesty with themselves. If you feel that you are ready for an even deeper immersion into the mechanics of human interactions and want to get access to materials that platform algorithms often block for their frightening directness, click the button to join our inner circle. This space is not for everyone. There we share specific influence protocols and resource capture strategies that are available only to the architects of their own reality. Places in our inner circle are extremely few because true predators capable of enduring the truth about human nature are always few. We are not looking for a crowd. We need those who are ready to build their empire in silence and without unnecessary sentiment. Subscribe to the channel right now and activate notifications so as not to miss the next critically important lesson of power over yourself and others. Each of our videos is another brick in the wall of your personal fortress. Right now, write the phrase, "I see through it," in the comments if this episode helped you rip the masks off those who for years held you on a leash through guilt and duty. Your stories and your realizations are fuel for our community. Reading your comments, other members understand that they are not alone in their struggle for sovereignty of personality. Remember that from this moment on, your silence is your main currency, your secrecy is your security, and your ability to leave on time at the peak of politeness is your main trump card in any social game. Be vigilant in every conversation at the family table. Be free from other people's expectations and projections. Your life belongs only to you and no one else. We will see you in the next lesson. See you at the top.